This week's parsha, at the end of the parsha Shlach, is the parsha of Tzitzis and Techeiles. So I wanted to discuss a little bit the Techeiles, the whole shmuz, a little bit about, start off with the Radzyn and go to the Murex Trunculus, and a little bit there's so much written on this shaila. I mean, there's svarim and svarim. We can't hit nearly any of it, but I just want to go through a few pointers. Okay, until there's no question about it, till that for the past 1500 years it did not exist, right? Klal Yisrael didn't have it. It would seem that it was made somewhere in the Eretz Yisrael area. And even from Babel, they got it from Eretz Yisrael. And once Eretz Yisrael once the Yidden were totally, it was destroyed in Eretz Yisrael, so that industry closed, and they had no way of getting it, and it stopped. That's what it would seem. Now, what is it? So we've been at least for the past 150 years, Yidden have been trying to identify what it is. One of the reasons why they were trying to identify it is because they wanted to bring the Korban Pesach. And if you're going to bring the Korban Pesach, you need the Big Day Kuna. And if you need the Big Day Kuna, do you need Techeiles or not? So some Achronim wanted to say they don't need Techeiles. But the Radzyn and a lot of others felt that no, Techeiles is an essential component for the Big Day Kuna, and you can't bring the Korban Pesach without the Techeiles, and therefore they started looking for Techeiles. Obviously, Techeiles is negeh for every single one of us, every single day. There's a mitzvah to wear tzitzis. The Radzyn went through the Gemara in Menachos. There's a Gemara in Menachos, Daf Mem Daled Amud Aleph. The Gemara says, Torah Rabbanan Chalazon Zehu, and the Gemara is identifying what the Chalazon is. We know that the Chalazon that Techeiles comes from the Chalazon, and this Klorim Makoris is clear that Techeiles has to come from Chalazon. It can't come from anything else. Okay, so Torah Rabbanan Chalazon Zehu Gufay Doim Liyam. Its body resembles the water, resembles the ocean, resembles, right? Ubriyosei Doim Ledag. Its life, Briyosei. Okay, every single word here has been debated also. So I don't want to go to exactly. But Briyosei Doim Ledag. It lives in the water. It seems to be like something like a fish. It comes up once in 70 years. And with its blood, we dye Techeiles lefikach dam v'yikarim. And the lefikach dam v'yikarim is a very important component, because it would seem that the reason for this brisa, the point of this brisa is that all these things are the reason why Techeiles is so expensive is because of all these things. It's hard to see. It's camouflaged in the water. It lives in the water. It only comes up once in a while, right? That would be pshat. Yeah, Rashi. Okay, that's okay. So the Radzyn, he traveled to Naples to get to Naples to get to some sort of aquarium, and he decided that it was the cuttlefish. Yeah, I just brought along a picture of the cuttlefish. This is a cuttlefish. This is one of them. This is actually this is a cuttlefish, right? What's interesting about the cuttlefish is that it happens to be called the common cuttlefish, which is one of the problems over here, that it's pretty common in cuttlefish. Which is one of the problems with the Radzyn is going to be that how did this industry get lost if it's just a cuttlefish? So anyway, this cuttlefish, what it does is when a predator is coming at it, it emits some kind of a dye, some kind of a black substance, and that black substance like clouds the water, and that's how it's able to escape. So that black dye again, it's the dye, it's not the dam, but okay, but we'll assume that dam means any liquid in the animal. That dye, the Radzyn, it was used as an ink or a component for ink in the ancient times. The Radzyn decided that this must be a dye, right? An ink and a dye is somewhat different, but he decided that this must be the dye. But the problem is, it wasn't blue, right? We know that Techeiles is Doim L'Yam, and the Techeiles itself is Doim L'Yam, and it's Doim L'Rakia. We know it has to be blue, right? And we also know that Techeiles has to be blue for and this is also a very, very important thing when you go through the sugya. The Gemara says that Ani Hashem Lekechem, says in this week's parsha, Ani Hashem Lekechem, and the Gemara says that what's Ani Hashem Lekechem? That I am Hashem. Why? Because I know if you're really wearing Techeiles or you're wearing Kali Ilan. What's Kali Ilan? Kali Ilan is indigo. Indigo is and this is undisputed. Everybody knows what it is. It's a plant. That from this plant they also grow a dye, a blue dye, and it's the exact. And to the eye, a person can't differentiate in between Kali Ilan and Techeiles, and therefore Ani Hashem Lekechem. I'm the one that could tell if you're wearing Techeiles or not. So if you're wearing Techeiles, so you're wearing this indigo. So the Radzyn knew it has to be blue. But it wasn't blue. So he took it to a chemist, and a chemist made it into blue. Oh, it's blue. He was all excited. He came running to Radzyn, and before he knew it, all his Chassidim within a year, his Chassidim were all wearing this Techeiles, and then he went around Europe, trying to get everybody to wear the Techeiles. That's what happened, and there are people today that still wear the Techeiles. What eventually happened was that the Rav Herzog, who was one of the Rav Rashis of Israel, he was writing his thesis in university. He was writing it on the Techeiles. It's called Royal Purple and the Biblical Blue, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what it's called. And he took some of this tzitzis to a chemist. Tell me what this is about. And the chemist, they looked at they figured out. They said, this is not intrinsically blue. That means it was turned blue, but what he got it from is not intrinsically blue. So Rav Herzog was shocked. Like, it can't be that the Radzyn is trying to fool anybody, right? So he wrote to the Radzyn. It's very important. This letter is very, very important. And the Radzyn wrote him back how he does it. And it turns out that it's not intrinsic. The blue is not coming from this black of the squid. It's coming. What it is they add iron, and when they cook it up very, very high and they add iron, somehow the whole molecular component changes. So first of all, there's no blue in it. It's not blue. More importantly, and this is the biggest problem with it, if you do this trick with the iron, putting it into if you do the cooking, it doesn't have to be anything to do with the squid. It doesn't have to be anything to do with any animal. You could even use any blood, any organic substance. If you put it through this system, it turns blue. Right? So the Torah is telling us to go run over there, and it's more than that. But the Torah tells us to go run, and done with Techeiles, the whole thing. It's like Zeir Sakosov to get it from Dafka. This hard to get from animal, and I can get it from cow blood. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, right? What's even more schwer is Techeiles in the Torah is not the dye, right? This is Rashi says it so many times. Techeiles is not dye. Techeiles is wool that was dyed blue. So the Torah is discussing a substance of wool that was already dyed blue with Chalazon, right? So that means that this had been done already before. In other words, the Torah is telling you, take the blue dye the blue wool that you already have, and make tzitzis out of it, make big dekun out of it. But it's talking about something that I already have, right? Why would anybody have made blue wool out of this process with a cuttlefish, and not have done it so much cheaper with cow blood or something else, some other organic substance that's so much cheaper, right? Even in other words, that's why it's so shred that it should be exer sakosov, that it should be dafka from this end. Okay.
Yeah, the same question about Kleila. Why would you use Kleila?
Well, it has to be from a fish.
Why the guy didn't use Kali Ilan, or why the... Okay, so the Gemara's move were that the Kali Ilan was a little bit more fast. It was less fast. In other words, that Chalazon is stronger.
It has to be from a fish.
What?
It has to be from a fish, that part you have to get.
Why does it have to be from a fish?
Pasuk says.
The Torah is saying before.
The Torah doesn't say. The Torah says Techeiles. Now, we're assuming that there's some sort of exeris hakosov, that it has to come from a fish. It has to come from that the exact same thing that could come from any other animal. It can come from anything. It's not intrinsic.
So where's
in
Rashi?
blood.
So where's Rashi get it from? There's a fish.
Right. The Gemara says it's a chalazon, and the Gemara says that, and we have a Gershon that it has to come from chalazon, right? But the question is, but the question is, right? So first of all, it would be some sort of exeris hakosov. The Torah says that it has to come from a cuttlefish. But how did the Eden in Midbar? Why did they have it for? Why did anybody make it before the Torah came around? Why would anybody do it out of a chalazon? Why would anybody have made it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and another issue they said is also that the cuttlefish, the blue dye ends up fading.
Oh, that's another problem. That it's more in the Gemara. That's true. That's another problem. Okay, fine, but that's not an intrinsic problem. I'm asking. They have not figured out how to dye with the Radzyn Techeiles, with the Radzyn Techeiles, and that it should stay well. Yeah, and not only that, right. That's a very big problem. Okay. So just two quick ha'aris about the Radzyn Techeiles, which is just interesting. A few little ha'aris. One of them is today they do use Techeiles, right? Today there are Radzynas that there's a Radzina and the Breslov, and a lot of people use it. It's known as the Chassidische Techeiles. I don't know if you go into a store and you ask for Chassidische Techeiles, they're going to give you Radzina Techeiles. That's the right. So the irony is that how after the war, how did anybody know how to dye with the Radzina Techeiles? All his dye houses, the whole industry was killed out after the war. Where did they get it from? They got it from that letter that he wrote to Rav Herzog. So Rav Herzog was the one that disproved it, and he was the one. He's the source that they and there are those that say.
Oh, they're using his letter.
What?
They're using his
No,
letter.
yeah, and there are those that say that it's not really true, But that's the irony. There's another two quick nukudas I want to say about the Radzina. First of all, the Radzina was the one that went around Europe, telling everybody that we didn't have Techeiles, now we have it. Why are you wearing it, right? And in other words, he wanted everybody to be open to being able to take the, listen here, we have Techeiles, seems to be Techeiles, and there's nothing wrong with using colored strings. So if it's not Techeiles, this was one of the big tiniest, this is one of the, right? Worst comes to worst, it's not Techeiles. Okay, so if it's not Techeiles, what do you do wrong, right? And his Hasidim now are still holding on to his Techeiles, even though it's been seemingly disproven, but they're still holding on to. He was telling everybody that you should be open-minded and be able to change if there's a what's it called, if it seems right, and then his Hasidim that put it on already, they're not ready to take it off when it seems disproven. That seems
it doesn't hurt.
What?
It doesn't hurt.
No, it does. No, but once you want to look into the new one.
The irony is to use a sayur on something which is by definition.
No, but he said
but it doesn't
that.
hurt.
But lefi him, the Techeiles is this. That hasn't changed.
The reason.
But if he would know what the Rav Herzog knew or Rav Herzog proved, he would agree.
I mean, when Rav Herzog told him that,
there's no known correspondence back. Honestly, I'm not even sure if when Rav Herzog was writing his thesis, if Radzina himself was alive or he got it from the Radzina's people. I'm not sure.
Because what would he answer to that Taina?
He would have said, Taisi, I didn't know. I'm not a chemist. Somebody taught it to me. Finished. That's what he would have said. There's no question. And that also gives us a little bit of a sakana. If we're looking into Techeiles, the sakana is that you have to be careful that, if you're doing something because you think it's right, but only because you think it's right. You don't get married to it. If it's wrong, you move on. Yeah, that's the okay. That's one. That's. I just want to point out another zach. There seems to be a conversation that went on when the Radzina came to Beis Halevi. That's unbelievable because it seems like the Beis Halevi answered the Radzina one thing, and there's two versions of that same conversation. It's obviously it will be two different worlds, but there's two versions of the same conversation. The Brisker say that the Beis Halevi said that you need a Messiah on a min, which means that halacha goes with the Bismerish, and we can do Misvara, and you can do Rayas, but when it comes to a min, when it comes to identifying something, you need Messiah. And if you don't have Messiah, it's worthless. And they touch it into a pasuk in Mishlei, but they want to say that they want to say that this is a halacha, finished, and so it doesn't matter how many proofs you'll have one way or the other. It doesn't matter. This is a min. We don't have any Messiah Satira on this min. That halacha, that Torah could halacha and Shulchan Aruch could be. I'm saying is Mashiach. It's not negay. We're never going to have to do that now until we have a Messiah back. The Radzyn talks about that conversation in his sefer. He wrote 3 Svarim on Techeiles. He talks about that actual conversation, and he has a little bit of a different version. It seems like the Beis Levi said something like that we didn't have until now. And the people, the ones that the family understood that he was saying this Messiah, a shtickle Torah, some kind of a halacha that you need a Messiah for a min. The Radzyn understood that the Beis Levi was asking a very, very strong kasha. He was asking that let's disprove your option, let's disprove the cuttlefish for the fact that it wasn't used until now. Klal Yisrael for the past 1,500 years were extremely tremendous Yerush Hamayim and Zrizim b'mitzvahs, and we were always looking for a mitzvah, especially Techeiles, and we always wanted to do it. And for the fact that the cuttlefish is something that's available. It's definitely not totally extinct. It's available. It's in some places very abundant. How come we didn't use it until now, right? So the same question that the Beis Levi asked, the Radzyn understood it one way, and the Briskers understood it a different way. He said something like, "What happened till now?" And they took it one way, they took it another way. And the Radzyn, he goes through, he tries to explain why somehow the secrets were missing and why it was stopped. But it's very interesting that the same conversation was Mishtam with the Trey Ampin that they really okay. That's the Radzyn. But so obviously his forum he goes through a lot of the sugya, but the Rav Herzog's kasha seemed to be a very, very strong kasha. Now the other option is the Murex Trunculus, which Rav Herzog spoke about. The Murex Trunculus is this snail right here. Yeah.
Looks like an American flag.
Yeah. Okay, it's a snail. Now, okay, there's been a lot of historians and archaeologists that have been saying that it might be the Murex Trunculus. That they were always saying it's a Murex Trunculus. There's a lot of rayas that it's also a shellfish, and there's no question about it. There's no question about it that these snails and the industry that it was used for were in the we know that it was bein tzor letzidon. Bein tzor letzidon and the chelik of Zvulun. It was in that northern part of Eretz Yisrael and Lebanon on the Mediterranean coast. That's where these snails were very, very abundant. That's where they were used. So there's strong rice, and they found tremendous amount of like tremendous fields full of broken snails that it was clear that they were taking out. They were definitely
used to make
used
purple.
for dyeing. Oh.
That's for sure.
So we're gonna get to it. Okay. Now, and there's also rayas. There's also rayas from the word chalazon. That chalazon means a snail, means a hard shell, and that maybe it's yesh lanartik. It could be. There's a lot of rayas.
Diamond to a fish?
What?
That's diamond to a fish.
Oh, so you would have to say that diamond yam means that it grows in the water. That it's in the oh. Now. So Rav Herzog goes through this, and I just want to come from that way, and then we'll get to the Tyrian program. The Rav Herzog goes through this option in his thesis. He goes through it, and he had a problem. His problems were like this. His two primary problems, let's say his two primary problems were like this. He was sitting in university. He asked somebody to send him such a snail, and they sent him a snail. They sent one nice and polished, and it was white. It's white because that's really what the shell is. So where's Gufei Demelian? It's white, right? And also the problem is that if you take out the substance, it's yellow, right? And eventually it turns red. It turns purple. So where's the? It's not Techeiles the Rakia, and it's not derived to Kala'ilam. So if it's not blue, if the gufa is not derived yam, and the Techeiles itself, its substance is not blue, is a problem, right? That was Rav Herzog's problems, and Rav Herzog does say that it seems like it should be that. What?
The ocean itself is not blue. If you take a cup of water, it's clear.
But it's not white. What's derived yam? It was white. It's
clear.
White. This, it would be like this. Like this.
Yeah, it's clear.
What? It's not. It wasn't clear, right? So okay, that's the problem. That was the problem. Okay, so now. I don't remember exactly who was Machadish what. There's a whole Hishtalshlus, but bottom line is like this. Bottom line is that for the problem of Gufei Demel Yam is not a problem, because if you see over here, this one looks like a yam. Why? Because there's different organisms that grow on the shell, and right, and it really looks like the yam, right? And it's not intrinsically this color. So they want to say, and it's very mistaber. If you look at the Brisa, the Brisa is trying to explain why lefikach dam of yikar. Why is it so expensive? Because it's hard to find. So it's irrelevant if it's intrinsically this color, or if it's really white or it's not really white. The bottom line is that right now it's camouflaged in the sea. Good. So that was it. Now what's with the color? So the color starts off in yellow. And they used to dye. There was a tremendous dyeing industry. They used to dye purple on the Mediterranean shore. They used to dye a lot of purple, and this normally could dye purple. However, they figured out that if you leave it in the sun, it originally starts off. It's called diabramo indigo, which is dye is the purplish reddish part of indigo. Indigo is blue. If you leave it in the sun, certain violet lights, the red part falls off, and you're stuck with just the indigo. And not only you just stuck with the indigo, it's so blue, it's exactly like the indigo of Kali Ilan that comes from the ground.
Oh, they actually compare them?
Yeah, but it's not natural.
Not only did they compare them, the molecular compound is exact to the point that it would only be the Eibishter that could tell the difference. That's Ani Hashem Elokeichem. I can know if somebody's really wearing.
It's not naturally blue. It's not naturally blue.
Where's the blue coming from? They're not changing something. They're not adding something.
They're putting it in the sun. It's not naturally blue.
They're putting it in the sun, so part of it comes away, and and it's blue stays.
You're doing something.
Purple is blue and red, and the red part falls away and the blue stays.
Yeah, but it's not naturally blue. I thought we said that has to come from a fish that gives off a blue dam.
But if it's put in the sun, then that isn't natural.
Right, and it's coming from there. The color is not coming from any other source.
You're changing something.
Okay. Okay. So that's where they were. Okay, that's where they're holding. So they want to say that this is the Murex Trunculus. Now, I have two problems with it. Okay, this is the two problems. Avada, it would seem that Avada, if we find it, we should wear it. And there's no question about it, and it's a mitzvah deraisa, and obviously somebody should have to wear it. The problem is like this. This Tyrian purple, tire, is bein tzor letzidin, is tire. Tzor is in English, is called tire, Tyre, tier, right? And so it's called Tyrian purple. It was an industry that was extremely large and very, very valuable. That means that only the most wealthiest and the kings and princes were able to go around with this purple, and this industry was kept up for a long time. And not only that, there's a lot of literature from Aristotle talks about it. There's another one called Pliny the Elder. I saw pages and pages of him. All he's talking about this industry. It was a big industry. They talk about this industry forever and ever and ever. And it bothered me tremendously that there's not one mention there about a whole section of and they're all trying to make purple. There's not one mention there at all of a whole section of the industry. There's a whole subsidiary of this industry that they're selling to the Jews for blue. How could it be that nobody's going to talk? Not one person is going to talk about that. Not one person is going to talk about this chelik of the industry. That seems schwer. And also, one last thing that Techeiles and Argamon we know is purple, and the Torah talks about Techeiles and Argamon come from the same thing. How could it be that the Torah should talk about Techeiles and talk about Argamon and not discuss anywhere that the two of them have any shaykhs? These two seem to be hashmatas, seem to be components that are so missing. It should have been there.
How do you know that's Argamon?
How do we know Argamon is purple?
No, how do we know that the Argamon that we're referring to in purple, when we say purple, is also it comes from the same thing?
Okay, it could be not. I'll just tell you, there's no question about it that they were making purple out of this thing, and there's so many riots that Argamon came from here. To say that's already
they know bevada that
they don't know bevada, but let's assume that. But it doesn't matter. We have to assume that that Argamon is the purple. That is more that has been substantiated at least more than the blue came from the Murex. To say that the Argamon came from the Murex is I mean that's what they were doing. They were making purple. That's what they were doing. The word purple comes from this thing is called purpura. That's where the word purple comes from. So I'm not sure what but
what's called purpura?
This snail is called purpura. It's called purple. That's where the word purple.
Oh, it's what's it called? That's what language? That's in
Latin.
Latin.
So bottom line is, but this kashas, they have pages and pages and pages. They're talking about this industry, and they don't talk about where. They don't say anywhere that there was a Jewish part. Now, in their defense, there are some that want to say shtickle Torah, that they want to say that little words there mean blue, or bluish. I went through them. Not one of them was clear blue for sure, not. And that one of them is understood to be blue pashtus, right? So I didn't see anywhere where they discuss it. Now it could be they're not discussing it. It could be they don't want to discuss it, and it could be they're not discussing it. But it would seem they wax poetic about this industry, and they don't go on and on and on and on, and just to skip out a whole part of the industry, it's a little schwer. Now we do know one last thing. We do know that there are halachas on how to dye Techeiles. So it could be that the Yiddish industry of blue was totally on the side, and it was totally not related to this one. But no mention of the Torah seems very, very schwer.
Or it could be that this was what's it called? This was different.